Our guest, we have another guest in our Abuja studio, Honorable Tajuddin Yusuf. Honorable Yusuf is of the PDP. He's a member of the House of Representatives, but he has also won the PDP's ticket for the Senate in Kogi State. So, Honorable Yusuf, good morning to you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Indeed. Oh, I beg your pardon. As I said, you are correct. It is good afternoon. It's usually a morning program, but this is a special concession, and here we are doing a second hour on our morning program. So, give me your thoughts. By the way, you as it were are the guy who took the ticket of Dino Melaye, Senator Dino Melaye. So you are now the choice of your party as a result of your people in Kogi State.
All of us around the primary were four. Honorable Samaro, Otubani Olayomi, and Senator Dino Melaye. We had a tie right after the first balloting, and we had to go for another rerun in the seventh Senator Dino Melaye.
Okay. All right then. So that so it's not so much just one person. It's a field. It's a larger field. I think is the point that you are making, and you triumphed over them all. 2022 party primaries and the future of democracy. Let me take your comments on that concept. Your party, the PDP, has just finished its own primaries. APC, the ruling party, has also just finished its. Give me your overview of what the way both parties have conducted themselves and the results that they now have, what that portends for the future of democracy in the country.
I must be sincere with us that we are not there yet. We have done well. The primaries were reasonably fair and transparent.
Okay, you can see it happens. There was that frozen video there. We're having internet
PDP
issues.
Should hello? Hello?
Hello, please continue. We can hear you. Please continue.
Okay. The PDP was able, despite not being the ruling party, to show leadership. It used to be that the ruling party takes the lead and the opposition follow. The PDP was able to do its own primary within the time frame given by INEC. It took an extension for APC to even screen their presidential aspirants. I think that we must prepare for this election from now. The parties must consciously build structures. It must not be a fire brigade approach. The two parties, the two major parties, PDP and APC, had convention not too long. In fact, APC had this convention a few months ago, a few weeks ago. We must deliberately put in a lot of work into stabilizing our party so as to dole out to Nigerians some very undeniable democratic values. I am of the PDP, and I'm able to say that we are far ahead of APC in this light.
Okay. When, first of all, I have Yemi Makwadero in studio. I'm sorry I should have introduced him. You might have seen him if you've been watching the program.
TJ is my friend.
There you go. Yemi, as you know, is a governance and strategy expert. Yemi is of the Media and Publicity Committee, APC Special Presidential Convention. Yemi, did you have any comments?
Well, I mean, to the extent that the PDP convention was quite well organized, and then the APC took it to the next level, it shows that our democracy is maturing. We are not there yet, but our democracy is maturing. You know, democracy thrives on plurality. And when somebody calls it the tyranny of the majority, I would rather have a tyranny of the majority than have a tyranny of the minority. So I think it thrives on plurality, it thrives on majority rule, and if this trajectory continues to get to a point where only those who are eminently qualified and who connect with the people will emerge candidates and eventually become elected public officials.
Okay. Honorable Yusuf, as you were saying that we're not there yet in relation to the future of democracy part of my question. I'd asked you to please assess from your point of view the party primaries and their role in a future of democracy in our country. Now, I want to ask you, because democracy is for people. It's not for wildlife. It's not for zoo. It's not for fish. It's not for animals. It's for people. Now, the role of the Nigerian politician across the board, who doesn't always like to play, as it were, he doesn't like to play cricket. You get my meaning. They say it's not cricket if you play, outside of the rules. Who doesn't always like to do that? I wonder what your thoughts are there. First of all, if you'll even agree with that concept, and what your thoughts are that the Nigerian politician and people have said that, well, there's no such thing as democracy, just full stop. It depends on where you are. Give me your thoughts. So the democracy will change, I think, if it is in Sweden, if it is in Sri Lanka, and if it is in Nigeria. Give me your thoughts.
The democratic value that is within church in any country is a function of the value the people cherish. What you are saying, Nigerian politicians are not people who come from another land. They're a product of a macro society. So it means that what you see, the tendencies you see, are tendencies that are common in our families, in our communities, and what have you. So until we deliberately begin to entrench those things that Yorubas call momonity wonshe, those tendencies that encourage good behavior, those tendencies that reward good behavior, you will not get what you desire yet. Where the system for them to kind of, if you get it, you are applauded, not the process to which you get it. So it makes it difficult, but there are one or two exceptions, and I can say that our people, a lot of times, want to reward good behavior. But those who desperately attempt to go and circumvent the rule and get power, unfortunately, as the system has not punished them enough, there are not enough examples that punish those tendencies so as not to reinforce those behaviors. Human beings naturally tend to do things that if they get away with it. If you walk into a place now and you have an argument with someone and the next thing is a slap, if there are no equal response to that slap, there's tendency that you will do the same. But if you respond in a manner that he is not comfortable with, he will be cautioned. So the Nigerian political class is a reflection of Nigerian society. However, there are people who have found themselves into something else, who even when the society attempt to go the right way, their capacity to undermine those things. So what we need to do is to continue to educate our people, continue to make sure that we get the people into the political space so as to deepen our democracy. Education is very, very, very important. I don't know of now, as a young person then in school, it was very easy for somebody, the student perceived to be genuinely committed to their welfare, to win against whoever comes up with whatever, name or whatever he comes with, or whatever resources at his disposal. So we are not there yet in Nigerian politics. So the process of recruiting leadership needs to have certain measurable conduct and behavioral tendencies that qualify for certain offices. Until we deepen such things, there are certain behavior that will naturally make you unelectable until the society come to terms with this reality. It will be garbage in, garbage out. We are making progress, at least we're doing primary now. Reasonably, this is far better than what we used to have before. So it might not be the way I want it fast. I feel I wish we are better than where we are now, but this is where we are for now.
Along the lines of what you're talking about, you said it that look, every Nigerian didn't just drop out from Mars. So we bring to the public space what we are from our own core, and so that's part of the problem. Now, I don't know the extent to which you think political parties through the decades have actually tried to affect this. You know of the National Orientation Agency, which people say has been active, very much in its in not doing anything. But that's the way they see it. Maybe they don't know what it is that they do. I would like to say that, look, there was a time when Nigerians themselves took something of a stab at it. Nigerians established the PRP, the People's Redemption Party, going back to Malam Aminu Kano's time. And it's very much the kind of things that you are talking about that were the original concepts of the man. So there was an attempt, but I don't know that it got very far. Is the Nigerian politician mostly Machiavellian from the point of view of, the end justifies the mean and success is what everybody is out there working at? And so Nigerian politicians across the board have been known to cut corners and not, stay with those tall, edifying things that would really propel us forward as a nation.
Yeah, I alluded to this position by saying that it is still the responsibility of all of us to react to those behaviors. If you give children the title to someone who has stolen mandate and enjoying mandate is not his, you are endorsing that behavior. You are telling those who are watching that society does not care. Once you can get there, nobody remember again. Everybody forgets. But if it's in the public every day, and there's some of if there's any English like shamification, that there's a shame or there's a negative clause hovering over the head of such people, others will hesitate. So I'm saying that the politicians, the civil society, the Nigerian people has a responsibility. If it might not be a written moral code, but there should be it should be politics without conscience. It should be politics that's established that there are basic behavioral tendencies that we cannot go below. So once those things are acceptable, and those who flout those tendencies are not rewarded, and that comes with our judiciary too. The judiciary has a responsibility to help society right those wrongs. So if you know that what you're doing will not stand the test of time, why will you do it? But if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons who have gone away, who have enjoyed those things, again, one of our major challenges is the way we kind of legitimize or encourage cross-carpeting across board from this party. But I'm sorry, it become more endeared to people to do now than ever before. I think you should join the political based on what you think are the ideological campaign of that political party. You have read the manifesto. It's intangible what you think you want to do. So if it's in sync with your personal philosophy and what have you joined. And if you have disappointment, unfortunately, there are some disappointments that are very deep. When people circumvent the rule and make you lose an election that you should already lose, it's painful. But if we can just tarry, because I know one thing, no human being, I repeat, no human being attained any position except it's given by God, no matter how smart you are, what have you. But I'm trying to say that a society that desires growth, development, and we have our eyes focused of being an example to other nations, must start from these basic rules.
Okay.
What are we doing with our traffic light? Can you drive through the red light and be punished immediately? If I have a case, can I go to the police station and be sure that equity will be served? Can I go to the court and be sure that no matter the name or what have you, justice will be delivered to me? Those are basic things that must come to table. The politicians do not operate in isolation. they operate within the comfort, within the environmental culture that's prevailing in the environment. There are one or two of us, by the grace of God, who could stand and say, in spite and despite, I will go in this direction. And I come to realize that if you are able to do that, you, at the end of the day, it might look as if you lose a battle.
Okay.
You will not lose.
Okay.
Because God has a way of rewarding those who tenaciously stay on the path of truth.
Let me stay with you, Honorable, and please do excuse me, Yemi, because the line is shaky and it's good now, so I don't want to squander it. Honorable Yusuf, this whole, give me your comments on the notion you hear commentators speak about, that in Nigeria there is no such thing as a political ideology among the political parties. In fact, people say, rightly or wrongly, that there's no difference, because there's an ease, you've touched on it, there's an ease with which politicians can switch parties from APC to PDP, from PDP to APC, without feeling any disorientation whatsoever. Do you believe that there actually is a difference between the political parties? We're talking about the future of democracy.
There is a difference between the political parties. But the challenge we have for now is that we are not taking people to task. People can come on air and speak about party A, passionately, and tomorrow is casting party A. And the society, and again, the press, will not, there's what we call true test. There should be a fact check about those things. A man that's come to you today to say, so, I don't expect you to believe him and accept what he said. I expect you to go into his yesterday and check, is there any agreement with what he is saying now, what he was before this time? So it's both ways. In as much as we say this thing has happened, they're not good, what are we doing as a people? What is the press doing to bring them to fall? Because it is natural when people are comfortable with such things, they know that society keep record. Just like people say the internet never keeps record. So we should keep record of those tendencies and those behavior and deliberately, refuse to endorse them. So jumping from party and what have you is making our democracy look like a mockery. It's making it look as unserious people. Just go to our next door neighbor here in Ghana. Ghana has been consistent for like 20-something years, not more than 20-something years. In fact, it is becoming like a norm or an acceptable rule in Ghana. A party does a term or two, you know that the next election, the opposition is taking over. Rank off free. And everybody is accepted. You don't find members of the party that have lost power shift to the other party. There's enormous pressure on people like us at a
well, actually, I think we lost the signal there. But thank God we did hear a sizable chunk, and I think it was a quality contribution by Honorable Tajuddin Yusuf. So actually, if you can still hear me, Honorable Tajuddin Yusuf, you're a PDP member of the House of Representatives, but you've just won the Kogi senatorial ticket, and we wanted to thank you very much for making time for us this morning. Thank you very much for being on the program. And Yemi, bringing it home, I just wanted to, some of the things that he said in there, get your comment on it, because the focus shifted slightly to the future of democracy, looking at against the backdrop of the 2022 party primaries. Very briefly, please, because we've got to go now.
Yes, I mentioned the issue of law and order in my previous response to a question, and that is one of the key things that will address some of these issues when there are consequences for misbehavior. And that is why, I live in Lagos, and I use Lagos as an example. Take Lasma away from the road for 2 days, and then you see the kind of chaos that you have. The same people who complain about high-handedness of Lasma will call the radio and say, we are here, no Lasma, no Lasma.
Yes,
so that is to tell you that there is a need to have a system that can self-cleanse and that can take care of those who are deviant, and then make those who are law-abiding to enjoy the benefits of living in a sane society.
Indeed, I want to thank you very much also, Yemi Makpaderon. Mr. Makpaderon is a governance and strategy expert. And I think, thank God you've been here, because you've been able to deal with some of those things that perhaps a non-party person might not have seen as clearly. And you're a member of the Media and Publicity Committee of the Special Presidential Convention. Thanks as always, Yemi, for coming.
Thanks for
you need to do it a bit more frequently. You've been too long, away too long.
Like I said, it will always be a honor to be here.
Thank you very much. So that's our program. It's an extraordinary program, extraordinary edition as in extraordinary general meeting, in the sense that we took an hour more, and we're thankful for it. But it's for today only. So tomorrow we'll revert to normal. It'll be our usual 11 to 12 noon. Thank you for being with us today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.